once again, welcome back to Plot.
Right, well, good morning everybody. Welcome back to Plot. I know it's been quite a while, but things happen in the garden and you've got no control over. Unfortunately, my dear wife took a little tumble over there in the patio, got a little 6-inch step come down from one patio onto the garden path, and went right over and broke her fibula. So she's upstairs with a big boot on at the moment. I had her in plaster for a week and then decided to take the plaster off and put a boot on her. But luckily, she's no operation. It's got to heal itself. It broke the fibula at the top of the bone and near her ankle, so that's where the problem is. We're all getting old, so you know we've just got to be very careful. I've come up this morning because it's absolutely blown a holy, but the sunshine is absolutely boiling hot. And I love my doors open through the day. I've got the greenhouse door open about 4 inches here, just to let the fresh air through. But it's really for the wind for the video. I thought I'd make a small video today just to let you know exactly what's been happening. I know it's been a month, 5 weeks since I made the last one, and as I say, it's been manic the last 5 weeks. When we have managed to get up the garden, when there's been somebody in keeping an eye on the missus, because she's a little bugger, she'll try and do anything she can. Work-wise, even with a boot on, she hates being pinned down. But you know, you've got to let your bones heal, even at our age. But I've been managing to get a little bit done. I popped up yesterday with a general manager, plant was sprouts out. Well, sprouts were like that, but I had them in big. I had popped them off with a bit of foresight when she had accidents. I had them in pine cups, which I always plant me brassicas into. And then I thought to myself, well, I'm not going to get them planted out. I'm not going to get the beds ready, so I might as well put them up in a big 2-litre pot. And that's what they were in. But they were absolutely massive, beautiful, strong plants. And of course, I hadn't had any protection ready like I did last year, and I lost them through the pigeons, so I wasn't going to be beaten this year. So what we did yesterday, on the Friday, we made the hoops up. We put hoops over the bed. We got the net ready. And then yesterday we went up and I planted the sprouts and we got the net straight over. Give them a really good liming, planted them, and then lo and behold, the heavens opened and the rain come down last night. But we haven't had a great deal up here in the northeast. What we've had is biting cold winds for the last 4 weeks. If it hasn't been coming off the east coast, they've been coming from the north, and they've been bloody freezing. So anybody thinking about planting out, you know, you'll lose them. Believe me, you will lose them, because that wind has been absolutely icy off the east coast. So I've withheld everything for the time being. I've got the greenhouses chock at the moment. I've just managed to finish off emptying this one out. As you can see here, tomatoes and cucumbers here grown away, lovely. If you remember on the last post, I was taking cuttings. Now I've got 2 of Fantasio here, and I managed to find out where the vivacious come from. I've got given them from a friend, and what they are, they're an orange plum, but they're an F1 variety. So I haven't taken any cuttings off them because I'm going to see what they grow like this year. As a rule of thumb, I don't bother with F1. I think they're an expensive seed. You cannot save your own seed, and the only way around it is to take cuttings. That's why the Fantasio, I grew them last year, and I thought they were a fantastic crop. It'd be great for anybody wanting to show a nice truss of tomatoes. Really well done. So I sent away again this year for a pack of Fantasio, and I only got 8 seed. And I think it cost about £4.20 for 8 seed. But I managed to get 7 plants out of that 8 seed. So 99%, I was pretty chuffed like. And then of course, if you remember on the last video, I showed you I was taking the suckers off. That's why I planted them really early. Rule of thumb, once again, I never plant my tomatoes or start planting till March, especially up here in the northeast. You're wasting your time. Light levels are so low, cold, wet, and that's one of the, really, you get bad germination. I've seen some really horror stories on the internet. Tomatoes, people really struggle with them. And once again, it comes down to your three main conditions: your moisture, your heat, and your light. Your light is one of the most important things for your plants. You know, if you've got poor light, and the plants are going to come through, and you've got a soaking wet compost, a cold compost, and you're really going to struggle with your seedlings, and they're going to look terrible. You know, you'll end up losing them. But as I say, I took suckers off the Fantasio, and this is one of them. I've withheld it, and I potted the Fantasio up a fortnight ago now, and they're actually in the plot. They're in the pots now. I managed to get some big 35-litre pots from one of my friends. They're absolutely marvellous. So I've got a load of tomatoes in there. As I say, we've been popping up for an hour each day, and I've been managed to get planted out. I'm going to go up this afternoon, even though it's really strong wind. I'll see the missus first, make sure she's got a cup of tea and everything else that she needs, a paper, telly's on, and I'll nip up here. What I must do today, I'm going to try and set out my trench. We've been picking early tatties, or early tatties out the bottom tunnel for 4 weeks now. Absolutely beautiful. Casablanca. I had to look them up and find out which variety I ordered. I remember about 4 years ago I had Casablanca, and they were a fantastic crop. So I bought them this year again, and I've got them in the bottom tunnel. I thought I had getting the Swift again, but luckily I hide the bags down to one side with the labels on, and of course when I pulled it out, then there's a Casablanca, and I remember looking at them last year and thinking, oh, I'll give them a go again this year. I'm just looking at my garden. Things are getting blown around as usual, and my granny's bonnets are just getting flopped over. I should have had stakes in them, but hey ho. The foxgloves are standing up really well, but the granny's bonnets are getting blown to hell. But that's over that. But anyway, like I say, the Fantasio, and that's them there. And these are just suckers. So if you want to grow, if you want to grow an F1 variety, and then take your suckers off, root your suckers. These are little pucks, little Jiffy 7s, and they're quite easy to do. And they're free. And of course, you know us up north, we like to save coppers wherever we can. This morning I come down, and I had I got a half an hour early on, and I got our peppers potted up. Now they're a little bit behind from what we normally have, mainly because the way things have been the last couple of weeks. I haven't managed to keep on top of them. They were in little 2-inch square pots and they were struggling. So yesterday I come down for an hour at tea time, and I managed to pot them up. Made me compost up, my 3-2-1 mix. I've always got that handy, and they're not looking too bad. Oh, no way I'm thinking about topping them just yet. And by topping, I mean pinching the tops out. So what I'm going to do with these, I'm going to leave them in these pots. We're only third week into May, so I'm not panicking just yet. And I'll see how they grow on. I'll let them grow on in this pot for at least another 3 weeks, until we get first, second week in June. By then we should have a nice, strong, healthy plant to pot up into pots, and then I'll consider whether or not to nip the tops out. As I say, pinching the tops out, same as we do with chrysanthemums. If we stop them, you'll get the side shoots coming out, and you get a much heavier crop. But these are the chili, and I've got 10 chilies, and I've got 24 peppers, all in the same pot. So I'll have to get them up the allotment. I'll have to get them up the plot today, or sometime over the next week, and put them up on the shelf in the polytunnel, and they'll just romp away in that pot. That's the 3-2-1 mixer in, and they'll fly away in there. And within 3 weeks' time, we should have a nice big chili plant ready for planting out. That sun's absolutely baking. Ready for planting out, and as I say, we can follow on from there. There's not so much down here at the moment. The only thing I've got left to do here is to weed out my coleus. That's a coleus plant I planted way back in February, the seeds. Quite easy to grow. As I say, with any perennials and whatnot, you know, they're just about all out now. I've got loads of annuals up on the benches in the garden. I'm slowly trying to get rid of them. They'll go out within the next 2 weeks. People have been asking for them, but I still say first week in June's fine for me. I'll never plant anything out. I've got my begonias up on the shelves up there, and they're not going anywhere till June. My dahlias, I've taken loads of dahlias. I wanted to start some new dahlia stock up because over the last couple of years with poor health and whatnot, I haven't been on top of my game. So I've managed to get a few more varieties, and I've managed to take a load of cuttings over the last couple of weeks. I've got loads of them up there. I brought my first batch down last week, and they were rooted, lovely big roots on them, and I potted them up and took them back up yesterday. So the melon house has been absolutely marvellous this year. We've managed to get loads of cuttings. The tubers are nearly all in the polytunnel now, and they're going to go out into the new tunnel, which I'll show you when we get up there. We've built that, we've managed to get that finished. That's full of washoe onions and washoe leeks and what chrysanths. We've filled it up there. It's a marvellous tunnel, just a small one, but it's strong and it's doing the job. We've got nets along the side, and we've got the cover over the top. Now I sent away for some polythene, and it come and it's like a light grey, but it's letting plenty of light in. So I'm going to try it because we've only got a small tunnel. I'm not that bothered. I think it only costs us about 25 quid for the roll, 4 meters by 10 meters. And I think I might have sent the wrong roll out, but I put it on anyway, and it's letting enough light through. And I'm just seeing how the plant's growing it, and I can always change it next year because, as I say, it's only a small tunnel, and it took me and Roger about an hour to put it on, so it's no problem. But that's the state of play at the moment. You can see over the back there, I've got loads of chilies. I've got loads of cucumbers. Sorry, the grandson's been. If you watched me post the other night, the grandson's been growing sweet corn, and it's a marvellous sweet corn, and he grew peppers. And he's grown cucumbers. The cucumbers are over the back there. They're absolutely marvellous. Now there's 4 of my peppers. These were planted just a little bit earlier than what I normally do, but and you'll get a better idea because where they're branching out at the bottom there, and see all the little branches coming out. They were about a month earlier than the other ones I sowed. I can't remember where I got these ones from. I think there must have been a packet of seed I got given, because normally I don't bother with F1s and that, but they're a nice pepper and they're branching out great at the bottom, and that's what I like to see. Loads of branches, and of course when you nip the top, all these branches will come out and you'll form yourself a nice, really strong plant. But this one's going on the back here. I've got tomatoes on the front with a cucumber, tomatoes along this side with a cucumber, and on the back bench here I'll have 4 peppers and 2 of the grandson's cucumbers. I've got some yellow cucumbers. I haven't grown for a few here. Crystal lemon. I've got a few of them up the garden, so we'll be transplanting some of them. We've still got lots of patches to fill in. Seed-wise, I haven't gotten any seed in whatsoever. So next week, what I'm going to do, I'm determined to put my parsnips in. I know they're a bit late, but I'm determined to get them in. I'm determined to put a row in where I'm going to try and get the first row of potatoes finished off today in the bottom polytunnel, and then what I'll do, I'll rotate that piece of land, and I'll put me canes in, and I've got peas and beans to put in there. I've got sweet corn to plant in there, and I've got pot leeks to plant. I'm going to put the pot leeks in our polytunnel because we're running out of room in the plot with building this new tunnel, and we haven't taken down the old greenhouse yet. We've got most of it down, but there's still a pile of wood there to burn. And of course I haven't been managed to burn it the last few weeks. The wind's been against me every time. Normally I go out the weekend, and if I can I'll have a fire of a Friday or a Saturday night. But it's been either wet, it's been windy, and the wind's been coming the wrong direction. Blows the smoke down at the houses, which is a no-no for me. I must have a southeasterly or southwesterly wind, and that'll blow it up over from the garden. But that's the way things go. As I say, my tomatoes are growing great. I'm really pleased with these. I've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 and 2. I've got 4 tigrella. I've grew tigrella a couple of years ago. They were quite nice. The kids like them because they're small and they're a nice little stripy, different coloured. I think the variety was bumblebee the last time I tried them, but they were quite nice. So I've got a couple of them. I've got a couple of vivacious. I'm trialing them because I've got them giving off a friend a packet of seed, and there was only, I think there was only 6 seed in the packet, but I managed to get 5 or 6 of them come through, so they're quite nice. They're a small plant. There's nothing on them yet. I've got the first truss set, so I'll probably start feeding. I mean, they're in these litre square pots, and that's me 3-to-1 mix, so there should be enough feeding them. A lot of people tend to start feeding far too early on tomato plants. Now what I've done this year, because I've been short of time, normally I've got black pots. I've got the big black flower pots along here, 2 rows, and I haven't had time because I haven't had time to make any mixes up. So what I did for the next best thing, I went up and bought some grow bags, and I'm really disappointed. I got them from B&Q, and they're absolutely rubbish. It's like blocks of concrete. Verve grow bag, and they're absolutely rubbish. Don't know what they're going to grow like, but I've managed to break through it and sit my pot on top because the roots are coming through the bottom. So we'll see. I'm just going to have to put supplementary feed on it, which I don't like doing. I like my tomatoes to feed from my compost, especially when they're in the big pots. What I do is I make a mix up, make a half and half, what I call half with my 3-to-1 and half with fresh horse manure, and I fill that pot 3/4 full, and then in the top quarter goes the rest of me 3-to-1, which the plant sits in. And then once it starts growing, them roots get into the mixture down below, and they feed nice and slow. Nothing too hot, no extra chemicals, anything. Just let them feed nice and slow, and you get a nice, really good homegrown tomato. Water well. Just make sure. That's the beauty of when you're growing like a ring culture. Well, I've got a lot of my tomatoes up there are grown in ring culture. They're in the ring culture pots, and the pots are set on big trays of compost and working water from the bottom. Tomatoes have a 2-root system. They have side roots for feeding, and they have long tap roots for water. Well, they send them tap roots down the bottom into the bottom trays, and we have to just water them bottom trays, and then just keeping an eye on the plants on the top. Any aphids, anything like that, anything you're not sure about. Spraying, I'm going to have to start spraying this week. What I will do is I'll get some rhubarb. I'll bring some rhubarb leaves down and make my first rhubarb spray. I sprayed my leeks last week with that. Garlic spray, quite easy to make. Get yourself a few old garlic. If you've got any old garlics lying in the shed, break a couple of cloves up, boil them down, add a bit of soap to them, and spray them with that. And it's one of nature's great chemicals for killing off aphids. But these are nice and clean at the moment. Cucumbers are nice and clean at the moment. So as I say, I'll probably make a rhubarb spray up for this week, and then I can go around and I can spray everything. I've got neem oil this year, so I'm adding a little bit of neem oil to my spray. What I did do with the sprouts was, because the rhubarb's been fantastic this year. If you remember last year, I split 2 of the crowns up and I made new rhubarb bed. But I've got stalks like that this year, absolutely marvellous, and some lovely leaves. And what I did do with the sprouts, I wrapped the sprouts with a rhubarb leaf, let it sweat down so it's nice and soft and flexible, and wrap your sprout in that rhubarb leaf, and that'll give you that extra protection against any beasties that you might have in the soil. Clubroot, the cabbage root fly, anything like that. Wrap it in your rhubarb leaf, place it in your pot, put your soil around, and that'll give you a little bit of protection until your plant starts growing away, and you'll have a first-class brassica. I have got cabbages up there, more or less the same size, but when I get there, man, I don't know. It depends on timing. I'm going to get up there this afternoon. I only have an hour, so I've got to make the most of that hour. This afternoon I'll probably be watering, get most of the stuff watered down, and then if I've got a little bit of time left, I'm going to have a look at them early potatoes, so I might show you that on the end of the video how they're doing. Get them tatties out, and then I can prepare for me beans and peas. Beans, I've got Blue Lake again. I grew Blue Lake years ago, and they're absolutely marvellous. Yeah, I've got two varieties. I've got Blue Lake and the other one, I'm trying to think of it. God, my mind's been full at the moment, but when we plant them out, I'll show you. And of course, I've got peas to go in. I've got a variety of pea that I grew quite a few years ago. They're a really tall variety, so you need plenty of room in your polytunnel, especially in a polytunnel if you're growing them, because they just grow up 6, 7, 8 foot, no problem. I was going to do the Three Sisters. I might still do it yet, as they get the sweet corn planted, and I might just throw a couple of peas around the base of them, or a couple of beans around the base of them, and let them grow up. I've got all sorts of plants, cucumbers and that I can plant on the ground for ground cover. But if we've got the time, we'll do that. If not, I'll just show you a quick look around the plot, what we've been up to. Show you the new polytunnel, and we'll take it from there. But for the time being, I'm just gonna water down here, finish off. I've got, as I say, I've got lovely tomatoes growing away here. I'm well pleased. The trouble with this greenhouse, I've got my shelves, and I never take my shelves out. What I do, I just restrict my plants to 3 trusses, and as you can see by the cucumbers and that, they're growing really well. I've got on this vivacious here, I've got 3 trusses on there, and the top end's just about out the vent here, so I'm going to have to stop that one. But I like to see how they grow, but I think I'm going to be restricted with these grow bags. I'm not too happy with them at all. When I cut them, they were like sheets of concrete, and I had to break through with my fork to try and get any moisture. By the time I cut the 3 holes in, and I thought, what have I done? I should have just went with me normal, trying to get as much compost from the allotment, bring it down, put them in pots, and grow them on that way. But as I say, I'm short of time this year. Still haven't planted out yet. You can see I'm quite happy waiting until June. Some of the plants in the garden next to the foxgloves and that, and flower now, absolutely marvellous. Snow and summer hole there, just covering that piece. It's got to be cut back this year, but beautiful, you know what I mean? Our lass loves to get out, it's a bit of a struggle to get down the stairs with that boot on, and we've managed to hire a little cart for her, which a little electric buggy which you can get up and down to Shields with. It's a bit of a nuisance trying to get it in and out the garage, but you know, we'll make the most of it. We're getting around, and we're getting back to normal again, slowly. But I'm a bit run off my feet, but I'm getting there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to up the plot this afternoon, try and get these peppers up on the barrow. Peppers and chilies to go up there, and they'll go up on the top shelf. As I say, plenty of light. Don't forget your light. That's one of your main things. You know, if you're growing seedlings and they're struggling to get to the light, they're going to die off. They're going to dampen off, without a doubt. And you're watering. I'm using 2 gallons a day down here, just in the greenhouse. I've got my watering cans full. From the butt, and I can water the bottom of the grow bags, but I wouldn't dream about flooding any of the tops with dirty water out the barrels just yet, because you can still get that covering of moss, fungi. There's all sorts of beasties that get in your water and they want to attack your plants. So I like to leave it until about June or July before I even start using that water. But any of my seedlings, any of my small plants, I get with fresh water every day, and that's it. It's not a hard thing to do if you're putting seedlings in. You know, if you're on the allotment, take yourself up to the tap, fill yourself a container with fresh water, bring it in the greenhouse, and then you got nice fresh water to put in your tray. As I say, once again, I'll fill my seed tray up and sit it inside of another tray and put the water in the tray. Let it soak it up. They'll soak the water up that need, as long as you've got a good compost. I always use my 3-2-1 mix, and I always use a good quantity of sharp sand. Perlite is another great option. And then for topping off, vermiculite. Just a light coating of vermiculite over the top. Don't cover your seed too much. Don't bury them in soil, otherwise, you know, they'll struggle to come through. And then once again, as long as you've got the warmth, as long as you've got the moisture, and you've got your light, and that's your 3 main things for growing a real healthy plant. And then potting off. once again, people tend to pot off far too early. You know, if the plants are small, if they're growing, look at that. He's in a tiny pot. And he's beautiful. He's quite happy. I'll turn him out. He'll probably be root bound. He's got a lovely root system on him. But he's happy. He's quite happy. He's sitting there. He's not doing anything out of the ordinary. He's not stressing or anything. He'll go into the next pot. I haven't got one handy, but as a rule, I've always got the next size up. But he'll go into a litre pot, into a 9 centimetre pot from there. Not too big, because the changes in your soil is amazing. You know, your mount, it's not the actual soil, it's a mount you've got in. If you place him in a big massive pot, and that soil that you're planting now is going to be cold, it's got different temperature from what he's in there now. He's snug and he's warm in that little capsule there that he's in. If you're going to plant him in a big massive pot with cold soil in, you're going to give him a shock. So just plant them up gradually. And when he gets to a decent size, then you can plant them out into their big pots. But never be in a hurry to plant pot off. I've always said that. I'm a great believer in that. There's it's a crystal lemon. He's just sitting there quite happy. Nothing wrong with that at all. His roots are just coming through the bottom there, but that's a sign he needs to be potted up. He's in a 3-2-1 mix, and he's as happy as Larry. I'll pot him off. Maybe in a week's time, he'll go up the plot. I need a couple down here, but I've got about 6 there, 6 or 8. He'll go up the plot. I'll put a couple of canes in, and away he'll go. He'll grow like clappers. But he's just in a nice atmosphere. He's got plenty of fresh air, he's got plenty of moisture, and he's got stacks of light. And that's what it's all about. Growing your plants on, really healthy. I've still got a couple of tigrella over the back there that need a bit training up. I'll probably stick them at either end of the tunnel here at the greenhouse at the end, but that's a job I can look after later on. Right, I'll get back upstairs and say to the missus, I've got the dinner on the go. Chicken dinner for over there. I'll get that done, and then I'll get myself up the plot, make sure she's got everything she needs, and I'll get up the plot for an hour, and we'll get this video finished. Okay? Just one last thing I forgot to mention. Celebration I had the other day. It was 8 years, and God Almighty, how the times fly. 8 years on the plot. It come up on the Facebook page, so I posted a little picture, and it's been marvellous. It's been absolutely fantastic. I've met a lot of new friends, and that's what it's all about. Gardening brings people together in a way that I don't think any other sport does. You know, you can sit down, you can talk about it, you can try different methods, and it's just marvellous, you know. The amount of people you can meet, the amount of people that you can talk to on the internet now, it's fantastic, without ever meeting them. Well, there's lots of my friends, well, I call them friends now, because they've been on my channel since I started 8 years ago. And it wasn't something that I had thought of. It was actually Dave of Dave's Allotment. He come to pay me a visit one day, because I had been talking. I'd met in Shields or met in somewhere where I'd been chatting on. He said, I'll come down to your allotment. And down he come with his camera, and I've actually still got the video upstairs. And we had a good walk around, and he was amazed. And he says, I don't know why you don't make yourself a channel and put it on Facebook. And I said, well, would anybody be interested? He says, you'd be surprised at how many people, upcoming gardeners, I don't know anything, but would like to get started. And so that's where I started from. You know, start from the basics. If you're going to get into the garden, start from the basics. Don't rush ahead at 35 mile an hour trying to get everything planted. This year's proven to me, and there's the rain coming again. This year's proven to me that just slow down, take your time, and you've got to do that when you're a new gardener. You just got to slow down, take note, what you want, what you like to plant, what would you like to eat, and mark your gardens out and go from there, step by step. Normally, if you're taking over a garden, it's been wasteland for a year or two. You've got a lot of work on your hands. Just do it in sections, because I've seen it time and time again. You come in, you rush, and you sick yourself, and you get put off. But just, oh, there's the rain coming. Lovely. It's beautiful, because it's giving that garden a really good soaking. Anyway, I'm going to get upstairs and make sure the missus is okay. Get what dinner, and even if it's sick, yes, I'm going to have to get up there because I've got too much work that I'm way behind. But we're about a month behind, but no doubt we'll catch up. But anyway, thanks to all the people that's supported me over the last 8 years and have tagged along, regardless of through all my ailments, operations and whatnot. And life's a struggle at times. But, you just got to make the most of it, you know what I mean? Just plod on and make the most of every day. And I do in my garden, you know, make the most of every day. And life couldn't be better at the moment, you know. We just get by, and that's the main thing, as long as we're happy. Okay, so I'll see you at the plot. Okay, right, well, here I am. I've managed to get up the plot just for a half hour this afternoon. Well, here's what Jap onions coming along really well. We had a little bit of rainfall through the night, and it's slowly waking them up. The rhubarb bed's been left to get on with its own devices. We've got a lot of building work to be done over there with timber, and of course what's left of the 100-foot greenhouse. There's still a little bit down the far end still to come down, but maybe in a couple of weeks' time we'll get cracking on with that. Greenhouses have been chocker. We've been busy with our mixing. There's me 3-to-1 mix on the bottom there that will be making up in the mixer. I will get a bit of time and go through it step by step how we make it. The first black mix we'll make, what we'll do with that, we'll add a couple of bags of horse manure, well rotted horse manure, with the 3-to-1 mix, and of course it gives it a really nice mix for the bottom of the pots. And of course the tomatoes feel like anything on it. These are growing absolutely marvellous. There's a big boy on the far side here. The Fantasia, where I took the suckers from, along here, and already, as you see, they've got 3 trusses on there, working their way up. Absolutely marvellous. Fantastic tomatoes there. I will be growing them for the next few years. They say they're so easy to take suckers from. Cucumbers all in. I've still got a few cucumbers still to plant out. You'll notice as we work way around the plot, there's loads of work still to be done. That's my basil, been sitting there for weeks. It should have really been potted up now, but I'll find a spare half hour through the week. I'll take them down home, and I think I'll just put them up down there and bring them up. That's a tray full of Ailsa Craig tomatoes. We can still salvage some of them, and I've got space down there in the bottom of the far pulley tongue, which I can put them in. As you can see, we've got plants all over. These are marigolds. These have got to go out this week. We're seedling leeks for next year. We've got 2 milkwoods, and we've got one. That's a blanch leek there. These are some of the leeks we've got left over. Absolutely marvellous. I'm going to put these up for stock leeks for next year. Limbs and daisies. There's a sweet corn. As you see, my grandson here, I've been growing some, but absolutely marvellous. He's over the moon with them. But these are our sweet corn. We really need the potatoes to get out, and so we can get cracking on them. This is a trench we built for our sprouts. They've had a really good watering in. That's really big plants. I hope the sunshine's not affecting too much on that. But we managed to get the hoops on and get a good net on, so the birds kind of get into them. And of course the wind's been playing a little bit havoc with them over the last 24 hours, but they're standing strong. They're really good, strong plants. There's timber lying all over the shop. Wind's been blowing it here, there and everywhere. So I'm shifting it as I go around. Try and open this door. I'll give you a wee look. This is my new tunnel. Pot leeks here, really need a damn good soak, and I'll have to do that before I go home. Pots and buckets lying all over the shop with the wind. But no doubt we'll get straightened up. Here's our some more show onions that we managed to get, and some more show leek up here. We've got milkwoods, We've got Blues, Kerry Blues, Richards, King Richards, or King Charles I should say, and over the back there we've got Kelsey onions. Loads of chrysanthemums at the far end, chrysanthemum cuttings that we took. A few dahlia tubers along there. There's dahlias all over this garden. I don't know how I'm going to get caught up with them, but we will do eventually. But this is a new tunnel that we built, especially for the leeks and onions. Absolutely marvellous. We took the old doors off there, the 100-foot greenhouse, and fitted them onto here. Got bench through there, and that down on the bottom is the IBC tanks. And then we just built a wooden frame all around them. Absolutely marvellous. First class job. I'm over the moon with it. This is what outdoor tatties for we're main crop, and they're doing fantastic. We'll just have a quick look in the polytunnels. Dahlias. Oh, I've got dahlias coming out my head, out my ears. There's that many in tubers. Look, these will be going out soon. Can't just sitting here, but it should have been on a tray. There's more dahlias there. I've been taking cuttings from these today. Let's see, some nice strawberries down there. I should have had them for tea. These are some of the flowering plants that I brought in to come on early. This is one of the foxgloves. I always like to have a few of these inside here. They're absolutely beautiful. And of course, they bring the bees and the hoverflies in, and that's what it's all about. We've just cleared this bed off this afternoon. I had shelving up on here with all sorts of plants. I've just crossed it over here to this side because this is full of dahlias. There's chrysanthemum cuttings, there's fuchsias, there's geraniums, and of course these are the onions that's going to be planted out tomorrow into this bed here. These are the long red onions. I grew these from seed. Quite nice onion. They should have been planted about 3 weeks ago, but I've never had a chance. But they're bursting out the pots, so I'm going to make an effort to plant them tomorrow. I've got a couple more dahlia tubers just sitting there. I've got a couple of cuttings to take off that one, a couple of cuttings to take off that one, and then that'll be it. The bed will be empty. At the back, I've already started putting some stakes in here, and I've got a string along, and the canes will go along there, and I'll put the beans in there. Hopefully I'll get the blue leeks set away tomorrow. The bed's full of tomatoes at the moment. As you can see, we've got 3 different kinds. We've got at the front here, I believe, we've got Gardener's Delight. I've got the Fantasio in the middle, and at the back I've got Moneymaker. I think that's the 3 different varieties in here. And in here I've got Black Cherry. Oh, there's that farther down here. This is full of peppers at the moment. I've got more cucumbers down there still to plant out. This is all cuttings, all dahlia cuttings. I gave them a good spraying this afternoon, and I brought in that spray up with us. I took some more cuttings this afternoon, that's in there. So really, we want to make as much as we can. These are the ones I potted up down home. These dahlia cuttings are all in singular pots now, and they're growing really well. I'm not really bothered about the timing at the moment because it's so cold outside. I don't really want to risk putting any dahlias out there. A peach tree. Absolutely beautiful. Look at them. Oh, they're wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. There's some lovely peaches on this year. We've had I got a first class crop last year, but this year's going to outdo it quite easily. Absolutely beautiful. There's tons on. Really nice. I'm over the moon now. They're going really well, and really it's had to look after itself this year. Normally I put a feed on in February. They get a sulphate of potash, they get horse manure, they get everything. They've had absolutely nothing this year. None of the fruit trees have had any kind of work done them whatsoever, and they're just getting on with it. The grapevine, I'm going to have to get started on that. Paul Webb mentioned his grapevine that he got off his last year. He's over the moon with it. Well, this is 30 foot long, this one, and you can see all the bunches on here. I will make a video through the week, and I'll show you how to clip your grapevine back. I didn't do any work at all on it last year, and it just grew right out of hand, and that's what's happening now. So I'm determined not to let it get as bad as what it was last year. So I'll make a video next week. I'll probably get started and I'll go along the vine and I'll show you exactly what I do. Cutting it back and just keep the bunches, well, you can see by the main stem there how wild it's grown. So a lot of that will be cut out and all will be left on is the bunches that I'm saving to let fruit. It's a bit of a state at the moment, but as I say, it's one of them things, you know, I'm just going to have to make do with what I've got. This is still full of bedding in here. Begonias down here. There's more sweet corn there, and that tray full of sweet corn there. These are the black cherry tomatoes. There's some more cornflowers in here. We brought them in to bring the bees and the hoverflies in. We've got plenty of bedding on the top here. That sun's a bit of a nightmare at the moment. Cineraria there, lobelia, petunias, they're all still there. And of course, there's our potato crop there. We've still got a few leeks to go out. No doubt I can get them sorted, but all the way up here. These are the new bags I got. I got these given by somebody who had been growing a crop, that illegal crop, and they must have been caught, and they found it in a flat, and of course all these were been given away full of compost. So we emptied all the compost out, mixed it with our own, and we've got a first class bag ready for tomatoes. As you can see, the tomatoes have only been planted a couple of days. Roger put them in the other day and they're already standing up. These are ales at Craig. There's black cherry down the bottom, and I think the top end is some more Gardener's Delight. The sweet corn up here and all, it needs a damn good weeding out. I'm not going to bother weeding them out. I'm just going to take them out the cells and I'm going to plant them straight into the garden. There's busy lizards there somewhere. These are peppers that I was showing you this morning. We've brought them up now and they're sitting on the top bench here. They're in full light and they're going to romp away. They'll sit here for approximately 2 to 3 weeks, getting weightless pots full of root, and then we'll shove them into the land. This is where early tatties down here. We've got more bedding over the back there. We've got more cabbages over the back that haven't really had any treatment whatsoever. But no doubt we'll get turned around. We've got an empty shelf there. It's the first time I've seen that shelf empty since February, and we started bringing some of the spring bedding in. But we're just gonna. I've got a tatty to dig up down the bottom there. If I can find somewhere to balance this camera, I'll go and get me tripod, and I'll dig one up. But, this is what early tatty crop. Ideally, I want to finish this row off, not tonight because I haven't got time. I want to finish this row off tomorrow, and that middle row, it's only 3 rows, that middle row main row I can take out tomorrow, so it's a good stretch of land here. And what I intend doing down the side here is putting the beans. I'll put a full row of beans right down here, and then I'll get 2 rows of sweet corn in there. And then next week when we get the last row of tatties to go up, we'll be going to peppers, and I might even try to put a row of pot leeks down here. The pot leeks really need somewhere to go in, so I might put a couple of rows of pot leeks in here and a row of turnips, and that should fill the trench up really, really nice. But yeah, they're looking good so far. The proggles have been taken over, as you can see by the nettles. There's quite a few in there. We dig them out, they go straight in the barrel. That's a stinky barrel. But what we'll do with the barrel and the rhubarb, we'll take some rhubarb leaves home with it, and I think I'll make a start on making a spray up, because some of these tomatoes could do with just a little one, especially peppers. When you're growing peppers, they're really prone to aphids, so make yourself a rhubarb spray up or a garlic spray, whatever you fancy. I'll show you how to do it, and we'll get started next week giving them a good spray. I'm going to turn the camera around and we'll get some of these tatties up and take home. Okay, right, I've managed to find myself a fork. As I say, I'm down at I'm down the bottom part of the tunnel, and I'm just harvesting a few of our first early potatoes. And these are some of the beauties that's coming up. Kestrel, absolutely marvellous. I grew them a few years ago, and I was quite surprised. I've just got to keep dodging the timbers that the shelves go on. Try and get putting that plant up just to show you what's coming off them. Absolutely first class. Gives you a really good workout, if nothing else. It's not wheel out the road, we'll take another one up. So I've got enough for dinners tomorrow. Oh yes, some really beautiful ones on there. Some misshapen ones and all. Strange, I've never seen that before. Bit damp here down this bottom end, so I'm surmising there's a leak. Yeah, there's a couple of holes on the bottom of the polytunnel there. Pretty damp down here, but where the winds, the rain's been getting through there. That happens. The seagulls get on the top. They can make a right mess of polytunnel. Oh, right, that's enough of a workout for me. So, there we go. Get all them. Hands. You need 4 hands when you're a gardener. So, that's a kestrel. Absolutely fantastic. Put them in a bag and take them home. We'll do a nice boiling for dinner tomorrow night. Right. Well, as I say, I'm glad to be back. I'm not fully back yet and full time. Once the wife gets herself put around, we should be okay. Lots to do at the moment, as you can see. We've got lots of planting to be done. I know it's third week in May. We're about a month behind where we like to be this time of the year. All this should have been planted out now. The pea bed should have been up here, up and run. But it is what it is. We'll get 2 rows of these taken out tomorrow. I think take them out a bit at a time. That's what we normally do. We start cropping in May, and 1st of May, and as we take 1 row, we'll put another crop in its place. That's where we like to do it, so we don't have to take us up any quicker than what we need to be. But we'll take a row up tomorrow, finish this bottom row off here, and then it'll give me some room to get the beans in, some peas in, and maybe just to put the sweet corn. The biggest is the sweet corn. We can plant them straight in. But sweet corn love it to be once they're in the soil and they just gallop away. I've got a few spare bags of manure up there. I know when the chickens have come out, the soil normally needs replenishing. But I've got some trench mix up there. I can just put a couple of handfuls of trench mix along here. A bit of lime on it, some trench mix, and no doubt it'll be fine. The sweet corn and the whatever else is going in. It'll have to be like that for this year until I get myself put around next year. And at the end of the year we'll give it a really good mucking. And of course the spring cabbage will be coming in here. But we'll do all that. We'll have plenty of time to spend over the summer explaining how we do it and where we do it. I'm going to take some rhubarb leaves down home with us, and I'm hoping midweek to start a video off, and we'll make a rhubarb juice for bringing up. We'll make a couple of litres of it, because I want to spray a lot of the leeks with it. I'll mix a rhubarb juice with a little bit of neem oil, and we'll see how that acts. You can use as I say, you can use a garlic spray, just as easy. I can use nettles, boil some nettles down, or just put them in a bucket with some water, some warm water in, let them steep, drain the juice off and spray that on them with a bit of soapy water. Always had a few drops of washing up liquid, and it just helps the liquid emulsify with whatever you're putting in the water. It mixes well with it, and then spray it on, and then, of course your soap acts as a good additive, and it sticks to the plants, which is what you want. We'll look at all that in the video. The wind's getting up again. It's blowing very strong, as you can hear by the polytunnel flapping away. But I thought I would just get a quick video this week, showing where we are and how we're getting on. We're still enjoying ourselves, you know. We're still getting up and doing little bits and pieces where we can. No doubt we'll get a lot planted out this week, and then next week we'll give you a good walk around what we're planting out and where we're planting out. We're still hoping to get some carrot seed in this year, some beetroot seed. The parsnips have still got to go in, but as I say, we'll get all that done next week. If we get a favourable day where the wind drops, we get a nice day, and I'll plant a couple of rows of parsnips, and then like I say, I can get maybe there's a row of turnips in here. Last year they all got ate by the wood pigeons up here, but I'm not going to let it happen this year. But it'll be on me God. Okay, so I'm going to knock off now, get myself way back down home. Keep an eye on the missus, and I'll see you all again through the week. Okay, bye for now.